Alright, boys, it's me, your favorite all-time host, Christy2708, here, back with another banger video idea that I've had for quite a while that I personally wanted to materialize, but I had some real difficulties that I've had to deal with, so I had to take them. I had to take care of them first, and then. Well, I just procrastinated on this video idea because it is quite the charged video that I am going to tackle. You'll see, because I mean the title will be self-explanatory. Once you will know what I'm talking about when I'm saying all this. This is my take, uninformed or informed as it may be, well, on the current ongoing talking points about the so-called male loneliness epidemic and rise of inceldom. Now, the reason why I can tackle this subject and be able to provide input from both sides is because, well, you've seen all of the previous videos that I put out and I left them intentionally. Kind of understand what why I am saying that I've had some experience in the field, if you want to call it that, and I can share my 2 cents on some conflicts and some band-aid solutions. There, I dub them band-aid solutions because that's what I feel they are to the so-called male loneliness epidemic. Although I feel like this is only a male loneliness epidemic only if you are in the position where you want to be in a relationship but have no idea how to get into one. Whereas for me, for example, it's not exactly as straightforward as me having tried to actually get into a relationship and like failed or something. Now for me it was like I was dissuaded from this from the very beginning. Like people just straight up said to my face, yeah, the reason why you are being treated the way that you are is because we find you ugly. So I didn't even have to try to be called out like that, and I guess I just had it coming either way. Like I was going to end up in this position if I tried, or maybe I didn't try. I don't know, to be honest. Like I didn't try because I was dissuaded from it because, well, you know, the place in which we live in is a very, very surface level like existence. And what I mean by surface level is so many people live in a bubble, and by bubble I mean like they have so many preconceived I think preconceived is the proper word, assumptions about the world we live in, and they take so many things for granted, and when they don't get that, they don't know how to respond to it. But the thing is, a huge majority of them will not get to experience that bubble popping, if you can understand what I'm trying to say. Basically, the world in which we live in works on a lot of assumptions. Like, you assume that by going to work, you're going to get paid in money, which then you can use to pay your bills, get food on the table, have drinkable water, have a roof on, above your head. But all of these are all assumptions, because the world we live in, you can only see parts of it. You cannot see the big picture. No one can. There is not a single person that exists in this entire world right now that could, honest to God, say, oh, I can see the entire picture right now, and I can put one and one together, and it comes whole together as a two, for you to see like an objective truth. Because as much as I wish I was like given this opportunity to see the objective truth. My truth is in no way, shape, or form objective. There is no such thing as a objective reality. Everything is subjective from a depending on the person's point of view as he views them. Like, even for me, all the actions like that the bullies did against me, they're all subjective to me because I was the one that was experiencing them at the current point in time. Maybe I exaggerated with them. I am not too sure, to be honest, that I described those incidents as they felt to me by recounting the incidents as I felt them. But feelings are not a objective thing. They're not something that is rational. They are they like to interfere a lot, but the good thing about them interfering is it makes life more interesting. And let me tell you something, a rational world is a very sad and cold world to be in. You do not want to be in a part of that world. The reason why I say that is because I'm part way into that world because of the different mental conditions that I have or don't have, depending on who you ask. Because even those are like a social construct. There's so many things that are going around in this world that are social constructs. People don't even understand. Like, money is a social construct. Money is not a given. Money only has value if you have goods that you can bring forth. Like, money is an intermediary, but if there's no goods for you to bring forth, no resources available, money is meaningless. It's just worthless, empty paper. Same goes for gold. It's like the one story about the man carrying a sack of bread, and another one who's carrying a sack of gold. Once the man who is carrying a sack of gold but has no resources and no food on his table, and all he has is a sack of gold on his back, who will be more at an advantage at that point in time? I would be more inclined to say the person who has a loaf of bread because he can survive for longer. So even in that regards, money is a construct. There is so many things that are a human-made construct, but you don't think about them because you take them for granted, and that's fine. You should be living like that, because living with the realizations that I have come to accept, let's just say that it clouds your brain so much. It acts kind of like a brain fog of sorts, where you feel like you're not really a part of the common world that people are partaking in day out, about their daily worries, their preconceived notions. Like, you feel so dissociated from them. You don't even feel like you're a part. You were made to be a part of this world anymore. And the same thing can happen to the people who are experiencing extreme loneliness, the point of the video, and they can take roads to certain solutions. They're not really solutions, they're a cop-out, a coping mechanism, if you will, that will leave you at the end of the day empty, because they are not real solutions to your problems, to your preconceived problems. Because is loneliness a core fundamental problem? Well, if you want to go at it biologically and psychologically, like, it's on the pyramid, like the pyramid of needs, and that it's at the psychological level. So you could say that biologically it does have an impact, a negative impact up here, for whoever is experiencing extreme loneliness for a prolonged amount of time. But if it has like downsides to being too much into loneliness, that you come to the realizations that I have arrived to or not, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if it's a drawback or if it's an upside, downside. I cannot like categorize it in any shape or form if this experience has been enlightening or disheartening. It for sure made me realize how should I say it uh, how surface level you are being treated as, no matter where you come from or what you are doing, and there are only so few people who are recognized at first for their accomplishments and then their looks, which is like, no matter who you are, like it's very discomforting to think that even I, unfortunately, have not surpassed the mentality of judging other people based on their looks. Partly because of my previous past experiences of being called ugly by other people, especially the ones that I sort of view as like more handsome or pretty than I am. So that kinda left a negative impact on how I view people, especially the more prettier ones, if you want to call them attractive. I mean, attractive is a subjective term again. It all depends. But like what I feel like is attractive may be fucking disgusting or horrendous or uh, completely like an ick to you. So yeah, I mean, that did not do me any good, to be honest, and it's one of the things that I tried not to judge people on, because trust me, I should know the best what it feels like to judge other people on looks. And I mean, I may judge them up here like based on how they look, and like I'm also feeling empathy for those that are that seem to be less fortunate than I am, like people that have uh, like they have a arm amputated, or like they're missing a leg, or like God knows what else has happened to them. Maybe they were born like that. Maybe they had like a medical condition that affected them, that they had to get rid of it. Like I feel compassion for each and every single one of those people, because by God, they have the, if they have the will to live on like that day in day out, like it's such a it's a willpower that I have not been able to grasp yet. And like those looks do play a role in the people who, well, let's just say, want to spend romantic time with you. It does. As much as I would wish that that's not how things worked in real life, unfortunately, that's how things are. And people turn to the coping mechanisms, which I feel like they are flawed, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. I saw a video about a fellow gentleman. You'll see who I'm talking about. His videos are quite well done. It's just that this one that I stumbled upon kinda didn't leave me with a good impression of this guy's standing on some things, and I felt like I wanted to talk about it, because maybe it's just the way that I am beginning to think is so much different from how it was a long time ago, and now I'm sort of grasping some other things differently than I did before. I had like this very weird transitional change of heart. Like I was in deep despair and depression for more than 2.5 years at this point. It's almost 3 years since this current mental state has begun. But like it sort of evolved. Now I'm getting also anhedonia, which is like a strange feeling where you don't even feel gratification from doing, what usual people get from doing gratification things, like, I don't know, fapping, for example, or like eating good food or delicious food, or I don't know, smoking. I don't smoke. I don't do. I almost do like very few things that would elicit a dopamine response, but apparently because of the mental state that I was in, I probably uh, have a chemical imbalance or something in my brain going on right now. I can't really describe this feeling. It's just like, it's that exact empty feeling that people are describing when they are in depression, but I don't feel like mine is associated with that one. I feel like mine is just associated with like burnout on life, and yeah, burnout on life can happen. It doesn't drive you into like suicide, but it does leave you with the question, what the hell am I even living life for if I don't even get enjoyment out of it? And that's one killer. That's one killer motive for people who are suicidal. It's not just depression, it's that dangerous thought, and that dangerous thought does lead to a lot of fucking deaths, let me tell you what. But yeah, so the male loneliness epidemic is part ways self-inflicted, part ways damaged by society. And well, it also depends on what kind of an individual you are, how you behave, because like if you behave outwardly like a incel, and let me tell you something, it shows. Like even for someone like me who hasn't been in a relationship, I can feel like when someone is behaving like an incel. I can't really put my hand on why I can sense it. It's just something that's natural to me. It's just something that I picked up on. Maybe it's because of my comeuppance, how I've been able to pick up on shitty traits from people and like call them out for it. And trust me, if you're like a close friend of mine and I feel like you're doing something shitty, like behaving shittily with your partner, which has happened to me before, like witnessing someone wanting to behave like in a very shitty way with their partner, I can like dead ass text him, and he will be able to say, yeah, you told me this, and I told him, man, you're behaving like such in a shitty way, like you are being manipulative, you're trying to like obstruct this person from going to a birthday party of a friend of hers. Like, come on, man, if she's going to cheat on you, like that's on her to like deal with. Like, stop trying to play these games of, oh, I must not, I must restrict the way that this person moves because I don't want her to cheat on me because she might cheat on me. Like, you're not getting anywhere. I'm not getting anywhere with this. Stop trying to like gain control. Control is like an illusion. An illusion which is supposed to fill the void of feeling powerless, and it's supposed to fulfill the role of bringing you peace of mind. That is the capital motive behind every single action that is being done consciously or subconsciously. When you think long enough about it, peace of mind is the be-all end-all goal for the human being. Why? Because once you reached that point, there is no more need or want for change, and you reached a point where you are truly at a equilibrium point with everything that has happened to you and will happen to you. And that is such a powerful place to be in, because nothing that life throws at you will be able to dissuade you one way or another. That is what people actually crave. They crave control to get to the point where they can manipulate their odds so that they can reach that peace of mind. But control is nothing but it's nothing but a faint idea placed into the people's mind, because you will never be able to fully control any single particular aspect in your life. The only one you can try to control, but even then might fail on you, is yourself. The more you try to control everyone around you, the more it will backfire in the long run. And it has, and it always will continue to backfire if you continue to treat life this way. That's a completely different story though. But peace of mind is also the reason why people want to like get into relationships, because they think, oh, when I get into a relationship I will be happy. Oh, when I get into a relationship I will be loved. Oh, when I get into a relationship I will be so much different and everything around me will change and I can view that life differently. And that may be true. That may be true for a while. For a while. But it is a replacement for the true feeling of having reached the point of absolute peace of mind. Like, it's very corny, but the actual motives and motives expressed in the Kung Fu Panda series of all fucking series. At its core, the teachings of that movie, the series of movies, except minus the fourth one, that one is a whole different can of worms. Reaching peace of mind and inner peace can grant you like the ultimate achievement in life, and you wouldn't even know it. But only the people who have realized this particular thing can they only these particular people who have come to this realization, let's just say they're not a lot of them. And I mean, I only came to this realization myself very recently, and it was through a series of revelations, thinking about different things, stringing ideas together, and like once you boil down the motives of every single person that is alive right now, and you try to reach what is their common goal, why are they doing this, every single one of them can be traced back to the peace of mind. Why are you eating? Oh, to staying alive. Yeah, but what else does plenty of food give you? It gives you a peace of mind because you're not starving. You have something to put on your table. That's why you're working. That's why you're going to work. What does housing offer you? Comfort and hopefully peace. Home is supposed to be a place where you can be at ease. Comfort of the mind. Peace of the mind. You see? And even the people who are controlling everyone around them, the rich people all paying their money to like keep the control for as long as possible, they have the same goal. They have the same goal as every other person has it too, but on a different scale. You just either don't care enough or have not had the experiences that I've had to come to these conclusions. And even these conclusions, they are not solid. Like these are subjective conclusions that I have reached. These are mine. Many others too, maybe, depending on how they view things. But these thoughts are my own. I feel like they were aided from other people across a 3-year time span. Like my views kept on changing and adapting to what I was reading and the different religions and stuff like that. But the religions are not my crux. It's that one goal that I know I must reach that will bring me the peace that I want, the peace that I feel like I deserve. But that is a monumental task, because let me tell you something. The path to such a lofty goal, because this isn't something you can grasp like a diploma or like a business or like anything else. This is a lofty goal because it's not something that you can easily reach materially. It's something that you have to reach up here with the power of the the power of the mind. It's about self-control. It's about a lot of different things coming together for you to reach that end point. And some people may think that they have reached it, but as soon as something bad happens to them and it startles their so-called peace of mind that they feel like they have attained, they fall right back into despair. For as someone who has reached that point, anything can happen to him, and nothing will dissuade him from being content. That's the difference, really, if you think about it. And so now I will come to the video that has brought upon this particular discussion, which is this particular video right here. I saw this video and I was like, I seem to be getting a lot of these, and I decided, well, let's take a look then. And what I saw was, let's just say, not pleasant, or I didn't particularly agree with the viewpoints expressed in this video. Some of his points, as I said, can work, but only as like a coping mechanism. And I will get to them as he brings them up himself. Okay, let's get into the video now.
Epidemic of depression among young men, and even the media recognizes this, but the solutions they provide are honestly crap.
That is true. By the way, that is true. I feel like they are just platitudes. Go for a walk. Be more emotional. Travel. Go to therapy. Go to therapy can help. It can help you by interacting with like a professional, and you can discuss these ideas and troubles, and if the person is competent enough, like if your therapist, like your not psychiatrist, that's the one who prescribes the medicines. I'm talking about psychologists, therapists, the people who are trained in like the thoughts of the mind. If you get such a good professional, they can help, but they are so far and few between because a lot of them don't even realize that the train of thoughts of their own. Like they went into like the psychiatrist field either to scam people because they thought it's easy to like just talk to people, or like they went into it to discover themselves why they are like the way they are, but are not so well trained into like providing therapy to people. However, if you find one that is actually gifted, and I did find one of such people, and he doesn't even charge that much for a consultation. Like he charges half of what a regular one charges, and he does a perfectly fine job. Those people are like a godsend because they can open your mind to new different perspectives, and they are very much appreciative. But the other ones, they are platitudes. Like they can work sometimes, but more often than not, depending on the type of person that you are, they don't work. You said you try them, they give you more platitudes. So yeah, I get what his point is.
This is because the so-called experts really have no idea what a man is, or what a woman is for that matter, because modern people see humans as just elevated animals who want nothing more than their carnal desires.
And that is also factual. You may think that ideologically, oh, man is bigger than an animal. Have you ever considered that maybe the animals have the same goal as humans, but they can't really express their thoughts as eloquently as people can? Like, sure, I don't think that animals think about the intrinsic meaning of life and things like this, like, at all. But you can never be for sure that that's the case. There has never been a incident. Oh, fuck off. There has never been a situation in which people have been able to communicate with animals. You want to tell me that animals are not somewhat capable of comprehending like complex things other than eat, sleep, reproduce? Like I have had an encounter with a dog who was there to protect me before its own safety, to bring me back to home when I was getting harassed by like a pack of other dogs. Like you cannot understand the way that animals work, and yet you dare to say that you can just call someone like above the animals themselves when you can't even understand how they think. Because everything that has a brain thinks. How it does that? I mean, I'm not a dog or a cat to tell you. Otherwise, I would. But I feel like they have the same goal. It's just that they cannot put it into words. And I also think it's folly to like uphold the human being in such a high regard, and this is based in religion. This thought of man is superior to the animal. This depends on a lot of things, because there are some people out there that, let me tell you what, they behave just like animals. They beat other people, they try to like subdue them, all in the same vein of reaching that peace of mind that they are so desperately craving, but they don't know how to reach it because all they know is to act violently. You see what I mean? Maybe you don't. Maybe I'm the only one who can see it for what it is. But I would think that that's not the case, because there are, at the current moment, at least 8 billion people alive. So time will tell. Probably not the only one who thinks like this, but I mean, I've said what I had to say about this.
But this is not true at all. Inside the heart of every man is a warrior. All men need something to fight for. Part of the reason why sports and video games are so popular among...
And here we get to the strongest point and the most egregious leftover from human ancestry that is still present to this current day. Do you know what that is? I know what that is. I'm going to spell it for you, so that you too know what I'm talking about. It starts with a T and it ends with an ism. It's called tribalism. Tribalism. That's what it's for. This is what this is all about. Something to fight for. A lot of current society is based around the core idea of tribalism. Us versus them. Because it worked for so long. Why wouldn't it work? You want to stick with the tribe that you feel like is the strongest, your tribe. And in the same vein come the people that root for different sports teams, because their sports team is their tribe. Or for a professional video game team, because that professional video game team represents their tribe. They are from their own nation, they support them. Comes back to tribalism. Even the class wars that in which we are currently in, I believe, I'm not sure. I keep seeing this on social media a bunch of times. We're in a class war or culture war. Every single one of them is tribalism. It's us versus them. And once you realize how stupid it is at its core, you can break away from that thought process and see the world in a completely different perspective. Not an objective one, because as I said, everyone's view of the world is subjective at its core, because it's not viewed from above objectively. It's viewed from down here, and you can only see so far like what's in front of your eyes. But even like the classes, when you think about it, poor versus rich, the tribe of the poor versus the tribe of the rich, the tribes of the white colored people versus the tribes of the black colored people versus the tribes of the yellow colored people versus the tribes of God knows what many colored people. It's all just tribalism. And even for religion, my religion versus your religion, same concept. Again, the clashes of the beliefs of different tribes over and over and over again. It's just that many people don't realize it, or they just go along with it because it just worked for them. But this is what this is. It's all tribalism. And I, for the life of me, cannot understand how people can still live like in tribes and whatnot. Like, I see people that are like completely racist, and they judge other people based on their color because it's not part of their tribe, like of their skin color, like, and then they also claim to be proud that they are part of that particular tribe. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, here, let me give you an example. I have done my how should I say it, my ancestry, like genetics. I've like talked with my parents, grandparents, and so on and so forth, and traced part of the bloodline. I don't like saying bloodline. It annoys me. I don't like the concept of bloodlines and birthright, and it's all just favoritism of tribes at its core, and I hate that idea. But I traced my ancestry back to like some Hunnic tribes because I live in a part of the world where the Huns invaded, and they were very close to the I don't know what's it called. It's like they have a specific term for the valley where they were situated when they did their plunderings of Rome and whatever the fuck. And there's a very high chance that one of my ancestors was like derived from one of those Hunnic tribes that like raged war, brought pest, famine, like so many evil, bad things to the people that were already situated here. And so what? Like, should I feel proud that my God knows how many grandfathers, mothers, whatever the fuck, back in the past, they were my ancestors? Why the fuck should I feel? Why should I feel pride for something that, one, I wasn't even involved in, like some other people claim to be proud of because they were part of that Hunnic ancestry of like conquerors, because that's what they were. They conquered, and then it's just, I can't take this anymore. How can you claim pride for something that you didn't even participate in, number one, and number two, like, I don't even agree with what they did. Like, what those tribes did, I feel like they were barbaric, they were cruel, they were unjust, they demanded the heaven from above for what they wanted, like the amount of tributes that they were paid in. I cannot for the life of me be respectful towards anyone who claims to be part of that tribe and like display it pridefully, because to me, I am of the perspective that such a tribe of conquerors that has brought so much distress, pain, sadness to the people that were already situated there, I just cannot, it does not, I won't allow it. I will not allow such a hollow pride to take place in my heart for as long as I live. And I stand by my words because I'm a man of principles. I want to believe, at least. I hope I am a man of principles. Anyway, tribalism is what this is. Tribalism works for the people who are not wise enough or enlightened enough to see it for what it is. And to those people, I wish you the best in life. Remain as you are. Do not try to tap into understanding of the world as it is, because the more you try to uncover it and the more you do uncover it, the more apathetic towards it you will become, and the more desensitized to everything that is happening around you you will become. Remain as you are. Blessed the how was that saying? Blessed be those with low intelligence or something like that. I don't exactly know. It was like one of the sayings from like, I don't think it was either maybe it was from the Bible. Like, blessed are those who know the least, or something like that. I hope I made my point across.
Modern men is because there's not much for men to fight for in the real world, but men still look up to heroes and role models who fight for what they believe in.
And that's good. That's good. Take from the heroes, the exemplary heroes, look at them for what they are. Do not try to emulate their actions. However, do follow their principles and ideas if you believe that they are good. However, here comes the problem, because how do you determine if an ideal or a belief is good? Well, that's where subjectivity comes into play, as I said.
Why do you think men think about the Roman Empire so much?
I want to be honest, I feel like the idea of empires is a moot point, because as I said, at its core, it's a tribalistic view of the world. It's my tribe versus the other tribes. I don't like that view. In order for humanity to evolve and grow past its current point, it has to go past the point of tribalistic behavior. For as long as it still holds that tribalistic behavior, very little improvement will be achieved. That is one of the core ideas that is stuck in the furthest corner of the brain. And once we can progress past tribalism, there are many great things to be accomplished. But let me tell you something that's so deeply entrenched into people's, I would even call it instinct, even though that's another human, a term coined by humans. Tribalism is kind of second nature. Sometimes I find myself partaking in that sort of behavior myself, but I sometimes, not always, can snap out of it and act accordingly. Well, I mean, I try not to do things that I feel like would be bad, if you can understand. When I mean tribalism, I mean like, oh fuck, the team that I was rooting for lost. God damn it, I feel so shitty. That's what I mean by engaging in tribalism. But I try to steer away from it as much as I can, even though like it's like fighting your own nature, and let me tell you something, it's one of the hardest things you can do, to fight your own nature. It's something that requires an ungodly amount of willpower to do so. But yeah, again, thinking about Rome, you're thinking about tribalism, like a certain tribe from God knows how much long in the past that was appearing to be like, oh, this mighty power, which had control over a vast area, and as such, you are thinking about like the peace of mind that the people that were living in that Roman Empire, the select few that were living in that Roman Empire, were living. But like I, for example, cannot understand the moot point of being that kind of a nationalistic person. Like I, for example, have nothing against people of like a black color, yellow color. I've seen a lot of immigrants these days in Romania, of all places. Can you believe it? People actually want to move here, and that's what I'm actually thinking about. Like, not oh shit, they are here to steal our jobs and to do this and that, and like they're bringing evil to this place. No, the first thing I think about when I see them is like, oh shit, people are actually wanting to settle down here. Why? Because like I am jaded. My perspective is jaded in regards to the place in which I reside in, and second of all, I'm like, oh shit, someone is actually willing to do the jobs that most people would not want to do them themselves. Like, for example, being a delivery driver. Do you know how many times I'm actually grateful for them, like being able to like take these jobs that I feel like many people would not want to do? And who's going to do a job that no one wants to do if there's no incentives to do it? And they're also like paying their like taxes and whatnot, from what I've seen and heard. And so as long as they are not causing any trouble, like, and this goes not just for immigrants of like color and whatever the fuck, I mean this for every single person. If any single person from any given country is not doing any harm by being in the same place that I am, I have no problem with it. And they're paying their taxes, I have no qualms about it. I don't care. I couldn't care less if you're from America. I couldn't care less if you're from Rwanda. I couldn't care less if you're from South America. I couldn't care less if you're from Brazil. I couldn't care less if you're from China. Just behave nicely to other people, and do the socially expected part that is expected from every single one of us, and I see no problem. but that's not how many people think, and it's depressing and worrying at the same time, because that I it shows me again that my thinking and my logic does not belong in a world that is filled to the brim with tribalistic behavior, like the ones that I just described, about hating people taking their jobs and hating the different colors for all the different reasons. It's god awful, and it's depressing to be in my shoes, because the way that I see the world, it's bleak. It's very bleak. Not just from a loneliness perspective that, like, the guy's discussing.
There's a reason the Bible refers to God in masculine terms, despite the fact that God has no gender according to his divine essence. It's because the Bible compares God to a mighty warrior, and men look up to mighty warriors.
I don't know about this one, Chief. I mean, a lot of religion is based upon, like, uh, things that were, like, anchored in the past, and experiences from the past, and, like, systems from the past in which male people usually dominated the culture, and, like, they were seen as, like, both protectors of their people and, yeah, warriors, I guess, too, but they were also, like, craftsmen. They were the hardworking people, and these people were the one that brought him forth, and, like, it's kind of like a male established thing, like Abrahamic religion. There's a reason why it's called by, like, it refers to Abraham, which is a male, by the way. A lot of these things are wishy-washy. If you want to ask me, I can see why you would think like that, but I mean, it's religion. I don't usually take religion exactly for granted. I would say as much that whatever outside force there is such a thing, because I myself I bore witness to it, either wanted or unwanted. I don't know what his plans are, its plans, because, I mean, I don't know. Let's just say that I've had some interesting encounters and situations where I feel like I should have been dead, but I just felt like I was literally pulled back from the situations. Like, I was literally supposed to be dead 1 year ago ish, almost run over by a truck, and there was literally a force that somewhat pulled me back and saved me from the brink of what would have been a roadkill. I've seen some things that I cannot exactly explain, some situations that I've encountered that are somewhat unexplainable. I got nothing to say about that, but anyway, moving on.
The Bible also says men are made with a desire to work, if that work is productive and creates great things. So what?
I guess so. But the problem that I'm facing is, let's just say I'm working towards something that is not tangible. It's not something that you can really feel in, like, something that you can feel in the outside world, and it's not an item that you can get. It's not something that you can work towards, that gives you the satisfaction that it gives to most other people. It doesn't fill that void for me. That void needs to be filled by the accomplishment of reaching that same point that I mentioned throughout this video, the peace of mind. So I guess he's somewhat right, but not exactly. It really depends on what your goals are, and to keep working for them, and even after you attain them, you still have to maintain it. Because if you don't, it will soon turn to hollowness and depression. So beware.
Why are men struggling so much these days? Well, it's because men need two things, something to work for and something to fight for, and modern society gives them neither of.
I guess, but like as I said, these things are just coping mechanisms. The real goal, like hidden beneath hidden beneath these, like beneath 50 layers of justifications, once you trace these back, these all trace back to what I just described as like the peace of mind. What are you fighting for? Well, you're fighting for let's take the fighting for something example. What are you fighting for? Your family. Why are you fighting for your family? Well, because I care about them. Why do you care about them? Because being around them, if you are nice to them and you have a healthy relationship, they bring you the peace of mind. I am fighting for my country. Why are you fighting for your country? Because I like my country. Why do you like your country? Because the country has provided work for me. I have stable income, food, shelter, water. I need to defend it. Why are you defending it? Because it brings me peace. You see what I'm saying? That these are hollow coping mechanisms. If you do not understand them, you will be fighting for something that you do not even understand, and you will not be, you will not be feeling satisfied, even if that's what you actually want to do. Same goes for something to work for. There are some things that I have figured out, but I do not feel intelligent for figuring them out, because I feel like everyone who has lived or come to the conclusions that I have come to can deduce this very easily. It's very strange. Maybe it's like a imposter syndrome for me, or at least that's what I feel like. It feels like I have reached this end goal, but I do not feel like I am that special, or I am like intelligent or something. It's just a stringing of basic concepts that have put me on a straightforward line to reach a certain conclusion. That's what it feels like. But I don't feel like I am in any way, shape, or form special or something apart. I don't exactly know myself. Okay, I'm not going to say. I'm not going to be either in favor nor against what some people say about my intelligence, but I don't feel like this has anything to do with intelligence, and it has everything to do with like realizing some specific things. Personally, yeah, that's how I view these things.
Those things. First of all, the school system is basically rigged against boys because it discourages boys from being boys. From a young age, boys are taught to sit on their butts for 8 hours a day, and if they don't like that, they're diagnosed with ADHD. Guys are discouraged from being creative, adventurous, or funny, so normal...
Not particularly in favor of this argument, nor against it. Some people are like that, yes, and they will do much better in like certain areas of interest. But I, for one, really liked the thought-provoking nature of school. Maybe I'm more inclined to like how things used to be in school, and well, there was a certain point in time in which I felt apathy. But if there's something that brought me even more joy than the thought of learning something new, that was like a new concept for me, then it was the problem solution from the more like mathematics and physics oriented side of things, which is why I also went into like computer engineering, and I got a degree for computer engineering, but I kind of stopped meddling with it because I became like very desensitized and burnt out from interacting so much with like the field of computer engineering. But I did like a lot of courses, like especially digital signal processing, like the way that my teacher at my university taught me about the different interactions between like the systems like of mathematics, and then translating them using different formulas like the Fourier transformative formula to go from like real time to like like plan Z domain and whatnot. It's kind of foggy, but I do remember liking such courses a lot, like thought-provoking concepts and things that people have built that I can interact with. I liked the school system very much for it. But I have to also agree that not everyone is like intrigued by things like this as I am, and some people are very hands-on, and they are more inclined towards things that are more hands-on. And I guess the school system for these kinds of people is not really worth it as much. But I mean, it also depends on where you grew up, what kind of interests you've had. It like depends on a lot. Like as I said, a lot of assumptions. The world works on a lot of assumptions that a lot of people take for granted. That for others just do not happen. They just do not happen.
Normal male behavior gets branded as bad, and boys end up being seen as second-rate girls, because schools tend to promote more feminine traits like being organized and following directions.
You will be surprised to learn that this is how things are in the army too, especially organized and following instructions. Like if you're going to the army, you will find out just how much accent is being put on these two things. It's just that it's in a different way, I guess. That the same thing is being achieved over there too.
That's why all those 20 highlighter girls, whose notes look like you could publish them in an art gallery, end up doing so much better in school, not because they're necessarily smarter than the guys, but because they're a lot better at doing the mindless busy work that teachers hand out, which is honestly just an excuse for teachers to not do any teaching.
I don't feel like that's the case, to be honest. I feel like they are making the homework, like, yeah, nobody likes homework, and I feel like if you're going to like a course or whatever, you should be engaged just from like being to the course, and being so engaged to the course, it makes you want to do more like homework, and you're being engaged with what is being taught. But teachers also use it as a crux to get students busy. Some have to abide by a curriculum which are supposed to teach you things like that, this and that. So I mean, it's not all black and white. There are some gray areas in the school system like that you can't really there's nothing you can do about them really. But yeah, I can see why he would say something like this, but I want to be honest, the highlighter thing really works. Like when you highlight like important bits of pieces, like you can trace back, you can make a memory palace, which is like a place where you store different informations in your brain, and you can actually like access them depending on what you stored where. And it's like a very weird thing to describe, but like a lot of people use that memory palace to like process information and digest it properly so that they can use it whenever they need it. In German, this is called Eselsbrücken, and like you are basically building bridges from one point to another that gets you to the endpoint that you are trying to reach with like the system that was being taught. Like I don't know. It's complicated to like put it into words, but that's what it's useful for, the different colorings of the words and whatnot. Especially if you learn something abstract like literature and God knows what else. Usually doesn't work that well for like formulas and like more like hard factual domains, like things that interact with physics, mathematics, chemistry. Usually don't work that well. It can, but not really, not all of the time. I mean, that's the fault of the system. But the school system works very well for what it's supposed to do. The school system is supposed to bring you up to speed with where the human development has reached to its current state. Like it takes you all the way back from like the basic concepts up to the highest concepts possible in university, when you go to masters and to PhD, and you learn all about the cutting edge, literally cutting edge, because you're cutting yourself on the edge as you explore the uncharted domain. That's why it's called cutting edge, and that's where the most of the magic and inventions and furthering of the human development actually happens. That's what the school system is supposed to do. It's supposed to bring you up to speed and right up to par to like where you feel like you are in a domain where you can be the most helpful to bring the largest amount of change you can with what you have at your disposal. Doesn't always work like that, but that's what the point is.
So men falling behind academically is one of the reasons that society gives them nothing to work for, but they also have nothing to fight for these days. Traditionally, the things men would fight for are their faith, family, and country.
As I said! What did I say? Why are you fighting for your family? Because I want to keep them safe. Why do you want to keep them safe? Peace of mind! As I told you, same goes for faith. Same goes for country. Because all of these, what they all do at each individual core level, it provides you with a peace of mind. Especially like in faith. Faith is the most addictive drug that the brain has come up with, because it provides you a sort of in-between feeling of peace of mind that you didn't really have to work for, because there exists a higher being other than you and like the world that in the world in which we live in, that works mysteriously. And by working mysteriously and believing in it, good things will happen to you, and so you are at peace. See how you can deconstruct the basic ideas back into what they actually are meant to do for like people and why they are so addictive. Because reaching that peace of mind state is kind of like a ultimate drug that, well, if once reached and properly consolidated, is like the most powerful thing that you can like accomplish in this life, I feel like, as like a human being. I don't think like there is anything more powerful to accomplish than reaching that particular point, as selfish as it is, and everyone has their own path towards it, doesn't realize it. Oh, and those who do realize what the actual end goal of this of living like this is, well, let's just say that they also have quite a hard time ahead of them, because let me tell you something, even though the fact that I'm aware of all of this, it's not so easy to reach it as I am explaining it.
But modern society has abandoned all of these things. In terms of faith, Gen Z is the least religious generation in human history.
And I feel like that is fine. You do not have to have a coping mechanism in terms of faith to accomplish great things. If you want to be religious about things, sure, but do not take it for granted that it will bring you the fulfillment that you think it will.
It's also the most depressed generation in human history.
I do not want to say that they are particularly correlated, because I do not have the backing data, because I didn't quite pick the research or like how should I say it, the research papers about exploring the religiousness of people and uprise of depression and stuff like that. It's a very complicated matter, and I do not have the proper resources to debunk this particular claim, because it's a claim. It's not. Although it's, what kind of a impression am I leaving when I say it's a claim and I don't have the backing data to back my own claim up? So it's kind of a hypocritical standpoint. But I feel like depression doesn't particularly come from lack of faith. I am actually quite the religious actor, because I dabbled in a lot of thoughts and principles of religion, and like I do not just blindly follow whatever someone tells me to follow. I have already made up my own mind. I've already interacted with a so-called higher being than my own. I do not need anybody else's input on this particular matter, and I'm still depressed because of the way that the current things in the world are. That does not mean that I'm not religious. It just doesn't mean that faith will solve my source of depression, because depression actually comes from a lot of the things that happened around me, in which like people are responsible for that. Each and every single person who has interacted with me in a negative way, or has displayed negative actions towards me, every single one of them was a cause leading to my so-called depression. I'm saying so-called because I do not want to incur the wrath and rage of other people of saying, how dare you call yourself depressed and this and that. uh, I'm just saying things how I view them, okay?
And that's why a lot of young men turn to political extremism, because they need something to believe in, but a lot of young men also believe in nothing and become nihilist, and they try to drown out their meaninglessness with marijuana, video games, and pornography.
I partly subscribe to the nihilist thought process, because if you think about it, um, the core purpose of being alive in this existence, even religion tells you that. I don't know if this is an excerpt from the book, or if it's like a teaching, or like something that was like uh, passed orally, like from word of mouth. But even in some faiths, it is believed that this is not a place you want to be in. This is not a place in which you should seek paradise. This is a place where you should seek part of redemption. That is usually done on your own. You are communicating with like the higher being, and this is not a place in which you should particularly seek respite. This is a place where you should reach that so-called uh, point of peace of mind, and to also help those others in need, so that it has like a positive effect on the world as you leave it. That is the core, how should I say it, goal. That should be the core goal of humanity. To leave the place in a better, to leave this place as you die in like a much better state than when you came here. That should be the main goal of every single person that is alive at this current point in time. However, many of them are distracted and are too far deep their own thoughts and hatred and tribalism and all these other distracting behaviors to be able to see clearly that that's what we were all meant to do from the very beginning. And it's really sad. And what's even sadder is sometimes I fall prey to this particular conundrum myself. And I start to like hate random people because they seem to have it much better than I have it, even though I've already realized that this is not a place I want to be in. It's like a conflict between nature and and my own ideals constantly, like part of it my brain, part of it my own ideas that my brain has already decided upon that it is the right thing, and they are clashing against each other, and it's so hard to like describe. And nihilism does have like it does seem to be, at least from the observable point of view, the more accepted idea that once we die, like that's it, that was it, there's no afterlife or nothing. However, I do have like some opposing ideas in regards to nihilism. Not exactly to the idea of we came here from evolution and all that. By the way, I firmly believe that evolution is like a congruent thing to faith. It's not separate. It's not, oh, I believe in science, oh, I believe in this faith. No, it's congruent. They are converging. And that's what I feel like it was meant to happen from the very beginning. But that's something that I cannot convince you of. That's something that I personally have channeled, have come to the conclusion of. That's something that you do not reach by just reading books about religions and whatnot. I just view the world in such a way different way that I have come to this conclusion. Like, they are congruent, two congruent things, evolution and faith. One does not exist without the other. It's just that these sides are they are funnily enough, this is also tribalism at work. They are fighting against each other because they are rejecting their own sets of ideals for whatever is they feel like it is the right idea to believe in. It's a complicated mess if you try to think about it. But since I feel like I have experienced and have come to the conclusion that both of these things seem to be holding up the truth for me, it's a very strange situation, very strange mental headspace to be in. That's quite for sure. So yeah, I do understand and empathize with the people that think like this, because I'm gonna be honest, if I was in their shoes, yeah, I mean that would be pretty accurate, because like for as much as I want to believe for the sake of others that there is an afterlife, there is no guarantee. And personally, for me, like personally, my my wish were that it will actually not be an afterlife, because I do want to reach that eternal, like forced eternal peace of mind once I am dead. But I am somewhat inclined to believe that that's not what's going to happen. If I came to be conscious once, I have a feeling that I'm going to be conscious again. God knows under what circumstance it's going to be next time. Whether it's going to be on this planet, whether it's going to be someplace else, I cannot tell you for sure, because if I were to die and come back from the dead, well, I mean, certainly there would have been someone who would have come back from the dead besides Jesus and told you about it. That's what I am with this current belief.
For family, back when the church had power in society and encouraged monogamy, most men were able to find a wife. Because you had one man assigned to every one woman, and there's about an equal number of men and women in the world, mathematically everyone's gonna find someone.
So the problem with this one is it also forced people into like very toxic relationships. And let me tell you something about forced toxic relationships. I was a product of such a toxic relationship that did not understand each other. They weren't beating each other up, I feel like, but I grew up in such a household. It is a bad leftover. If you are not compatible with your partner, you should be leaving. And honestly, I would even be against like having kids with a person that you do not even agree on most things with, because it does not bring up good people. Like it brings up broken people in broken homes. I feel like this was a mistake, forcing people to remain together. Yeah, for the sake of the children, but like bad people are like bad people will exist no matter what you try to force into their heads. And if all they have to go by is, oh, I must do this or otherwise God will punish me, but other than that I will behave as shittily as I can, like these are not people that should be meant to be together. But those were different times, those were different thoughts. They were not as forward thinking as we are right now, and yeah, definitely a product of its time. But there is a good reason why generational trauma exists, and you cannot deny it doesn't exist, because I have suffered from it firsthand. Not just me, a lot of broken people too. So
But ever since the church's authority declined and was replaced by hookup culture, now we've kind of reverted to a prehistoric model of polygamy, where a few men get all the women and the rest of the men don't get any. Either
I don't think that that's particularly the case. That's just how people perceive it, because access to the internet has made it so much more of a conflictual standpoint. But I don't feel like that's the case. I feel like this is still like, I feel like this has been happening in certain places like for more than 100 years. It's just that, well, let's just say that in those times there was no such thing as internet to expose other people that are doing this like we have nowadays. And I don't see any problem with being with the person who you feel that is right. And if you have to fucking search for it, yeah, I mean, maybe you're not going to be this guy, but fuck, man, would you want to be in this guy's shoes, trying to find the perfect partner to be with, and his have to deal with so many hookups, breakups, and like There's a lot of things going on that people just disregard, even in situations like this.
Either way, it's really hard for the average man to start a family. For country, this country has spent the past 20 years telling men that they're the oppressor, which kind of explains why men are not too keen to fight for their country anymore. Now, back in the day, what gave men something to work for and something to fight for was the church, specifically the Protestant churches, and I'll explain why.
Oh boy. I mean, as I told you, like I feel like people are wisening up to the fact that it's all just tribalism. Like even like on a basic level, they are understanding fighting for your own country is kind of like fighting for like tribalism back in the day, and they kind of associate with that. Besides the fact that maybe they do not want to go out and fight for what they do not believe is right. Like if they are fighting for example, if they want to fight for Palestine, they can't because the United States does not associate itself with like the Palestine. They associate itself with Israel, and a lot of people do not feel like Israel is like a ally worth fighting for, and they will want to fight for Palestine instead because they feel like those are the people being oppressed, but they can't, and like they are being misconstrued as traitors of the nation because they want to fight against Israel because they feel like Israelites are the oppressors, and like you can kind of see why people are not too keen on fighting for their own country when they feel like they already have what they want from their own country, and that's what it boils down to at the end of the day. If they have everything that they could want in their own country, peace of mind, why would they want to go to fight out for someplace else unless they want to feel like they are heroes? In which case, yeah, recommendable. But in the case of like Israel Palestine, they're going towards Israel. They don't feel like they are fighting for the side that they would want to fight for. They are not. They don't feel like heroes. They choose not to fight. Is it really that surprising? I don't think so.
First of all, the Protestant work ethic, which of course the left says is racist, says that you should work as hard as possible because you're glorifying God in doing so by building up his kingdom, and that's why historically Protestant men built the most successful societies to ever exist.
It depends on what you measure as success. I guess if you view it like building all these structures to worship an idea, but the problem comes when you worship an idea but you do not take the ideas that you preach from the things that you are preaching, and instead are acting completely different outside of the place where you are preaching and praying for said ideals and entity. Like, God does not absolve you from your own actions. Sometimes God works itself through its people and the people that you interact with, and by pushing away other people, well, who knows? One of those people might be one from God's own picked hand. Might not be a Jesus Christ, but it's just like that one story where like a guy is being flooded, he is drowning, and like there comes three different sets of people saying, "Oh, come with us, we're going to save you." And he's like, "No, I'm praying for God to save me." And then when he comes out the gates of God himself, and then he asks God, "Why didn't you save me, God?" And God replies, "I already sent you three more, three different groups of people to help you out, and you didn't answer their pleas to help you." Same story here. Like, yes, they are successful, but are you teaching the right thing? Are you also like practicing what you are preaching? I mean, you know.
And to this day, the most developed countries are the historically Protestant ones.
I don't feel like this is particularly accurate. There is a bunch of stuff that comes like it centralizes into like a there's a bunch of stuff that comes together for that, how should I say it, has formed the current so-called successful empires. A lot of it is based on conquering wars and expansionism and a bunch of things that I personally do not agree with. Yeah. And like, I mean, this is like a thing up for debate. I think like this is a what was that like paradox called? I feel like this is a I can't make I don't I cannot recall what the name of it was, but it's like yeah, causation does not imply uh, correlation or something like that, or correlation does not imply causation. I think it's the other way around. There's a lot of things that came before the church that made the Western powers the way that they are right now. Am I jealous of them? Not particularly. I don't feel like I am somewhat satisfied with where I am right now in life, like situational, like location wise. Had a bunch of pretty good experiences here too. Like particularly feel like success can be explicitly tied to Protestant work ethic.
Now, all religion could give people something to fight for, but Protestantism specifically has this doctrine called the priesthood of all believers, which is that it's the job of every individual believer to be a soldier for God's kingdom by sharing the good news about Jesus.
You see, you're being tribalistic here too. Who's to say that other people from other religions cannot come to believe the same thing, but like in their own separate ways? Which you did say, he mentioned this. But I feel like what he said here was like with a tribalistic intention, and I can feel that because I told you, like, I see things way different than most people do. Now, it wasn't my intention to particularly view it this way, but I mean, if I've reached this point, what the hell?
And of course, Protestantism isn't the only form of Christianity, but I do believe it's been most successful in accomplishing the mission of Christianity, and it puts the most emphasis on personally believing and understanding that Jesus Christ died for your sins and rose again from the dead, and through him you can be raised from the dead as well.
Again, either lack of I don't think it's lack of knowledge. I think like this is again tribalistic favoritism playing its due right part in his point of view. Not particularly wrong for saying this, it's just how he views things. It's just that I view his notions in this through these particular lens of classes. I don't have particularly anything against what he's saying. It's just that, well, I can feel like he's not saying it he's saying it in a specific, from a specific point of view. And I mean, listen, I am not against any particular form of faith. I'm just against the fanatic faith where you replace everything that you're doing for God. God has given you life. If you want to go into the faith aspect of the things, like the rhetorics and ideas and whatever, he has given you life in like this existence so that you make the most out of it, and to like give you that option. It has made you capable of choosing what you feel like is right or wrong. And well, in religion, well, I mean, for Christianity, Jesus is the prophet, but the way that each and every single flavor of religion interprets it is somewhat similar, but not quite. Some other, like the Orthodox church part, which is what I was a part of, not exactly was. I'm still going whenever I feel like it for Easter and whatnot, but like they put a lot of soul work into like pilgrimages uh, to for the believers. And I don't know, it's like they all have these all different flavors of religion. They all have kind of the same goal, but they accomplish it in slightly different ways. Protestantism, like the Protestants, that's the word I'm looking for, believe that you and only you are capable to talk with God Himself. That's what they believe in, more or less. Like there is no particular need for the church to get itself involved with the personal business between the man himself, the individual, and God, the entity. That is what Protestants somewhat believe. It's not always like that, but that's what the wars from 1632 or 1630s up until 1648, or I mean, I think they go back even like that was the high point with the burning of Prague. That was the main focal point. Protestants splitting away from the Catholics so that they can mind their own business. Anyway, I don't know why I was feeling like telling you about the history of it. It's just that these other religions have the same common goal. It's just that Protestants do it in a slightly different way.
So if young men band together and do a crusade to restore the institutional churches, it'll do a few things. First of all, it's going to completely solve the male loneliness epidemic.
No, it's not. Because as I said, it's a hollow coping mechanism. For as long as you do not realize what you are actually fighting for, doing so, it will not give you what you feel like you want to achieve, and it instead will feel like with the feeling of, why did I sign up for this? What did I accomplish by doing this? For as long as you do not realize what I said that you should be realizing, you will always have that thought in your mind. It's not going to solve the male loneliness epidemic, I'm going to tell you that much. It's only going to give them an empty source of pride. Like it's being proud that you did something for the reasons that you do not exactly understand, and it feels hollow. Just like I feel hollow if I were to assume that I am proud to be a white guy. I don't feel any kind of pride for the fact that I was born the way that I was born. Like, what the fuck? I had no saying in this. I could have been like a black guy, I could have been a yellow guy, I could have been God knows what else, I could have been disabled, I could have been like, I do not feel any sort of accomplishment or pride just from the simple fact that I was born in a certain way. It's a hollow pride sort of feeling. It's like hollow, you're just hollow. A hollow accomplishment. Because it's not your own making. You did not make yourself. The only person that you are making yourself is the one that you are building and trying to improve to become a better person. That is the one person that you are making yourself out to be. But you as a whole, as an appearance, as like, oh, I'm proud that I'm white, or like the way that the Ku Klux Klan treat themselves, I'm proud to be white, or the Black Lives Matter treat themselves, so I'm proud to be black. These are all hollow, because at the end of the day, these were not accomplishments of your own making. You can call me racist, you can call me sexist, you can call me whatever you want to call me, but these are my convictions, and these are the conclusions that I have reached that help me treat people equal, no matter where they come from, no matter what they are, who they are, sometimes even what they did, because I try to understand almost every single one of them. It's a hard task, and it's very mentally taxing, by the way. The thoughts that are going on in here, surrounding the entire space in which I live in, regarding to the people and the construct of society and so on and so forth, is very mentally taxing. I'm going to tell you that much. But because I have already done the thinking about this, I can tell you that this is not going to solve the male loneliness epidemic. For you have to reach that true peace of mind state that you will not be able to reach through hollow means and purposes. You have to come to the conclusion that what you're fighting for and what you are looking for is the peace of mind, and only you know the ways in which you can proceed to acquire this particular state of mind. For once you have reached it, as I said, it's a completely liberating feeling. You will be finally free. For as long as you have needs, physical needs that are unmet, a home that you do not have above, like a roof that you do not have above your head, for as long as all of these things exist, man will always be a slave to this existence. No matter where you go, and no matter who you are, and what you are, you will forever be a slave in one way or another. Slave to the system that the people have made for themselves, slave to your own body for its requirements to stay alive. You will forever be a slave for as long as you live, and you have not reached this specific state of mind that I am describing so much. Anyway.
You know, it used to be completely unheard of for people to not have friends, because everyone's community was through the local church.
Well, in this one, like I do have three actually very amazing friends that I can actually call best friends, that they have lent money to me when I was in need, but they did not come from church. They came from school, and they did not come from common activities were like a huge help, but understanding each other and getting closer to understanding each other was what has driven this friendship so much closer. And also the good times that we have spent together and like helping and trusting each other is what made this friendship blossom so much. It's only too bad that it's kind of breaking apart at the seams, because interests and people diverge, but we are still best friends to this very day, and these persons still come up to my house and we still do activities together. However, sometimes you can get those friends from church, but it's not exclusively from church. And as a matter of fact, like the people with which I'm friends with don't even share the same faith belief as I am. Like one of them is Catholic, and I think another one is like Baptist or something else. Yeah.
But ever since the decline of the local church, it's been very common for men to have no in-real-life friends.
Church does not guarantee that you will find like-minded friends that share the same goals. Maybe it can help sometimes, but from my experiences by going to the church, even as a little kid, like I did not get particularly I did not get this impression that I could make friends from going to church. So I don't think that this is going to solve the problem, personally. But your mileage may vary. Depends from place to place.
Number 2, it'll give men something to fight for. We all know that men bond with each other over going on an adventure and having some cause to be passionate about. And number 3, it will...
I guess so, but it doesn't have to be that way. Like the cause that you are fighting for, like, or going on an adventure, doesn't have to be like a physical one or like a religious one. Like the adventure that you could go on, for example, is like a particular research to help improve other people's lives. Like the medics that are working on vaccines, so that people can treat themselves before they get hit by viruses, and so they diminish the impact of the viruses and help overcome the diseases around us, because diseases do have like a root cause in the macroscopic organisms that live around us in our day-to-day lives, but we do not see because our eyes are not made to see them. Those doctors, I would see them as going on an adventure to help better people's lives, or the people that are making the modern machine learning tools like ChatGPT. Those people are going on an adventure to better people's lives in the end. Same concept, just not a physical adventure.
Save the souls of people in Generation Z.
Saving the souls of the people from Generation Z has to also come from within, like as a concept that also you cannot help the people that do not need your help or do not feel like they want to be helped.
No, Christianity isn't just good because it's useful. It's good because it's objectively true, and because it delivers a message that saves people from eternal death and grants them eternal life.
As much as I understand where he is coming from with this idea of giving people a hope and something like to look forward to and to like give purpose in their life, I don't feel like it's as easy as he puts it. It is the most easiest way to cope with the hardships of life, but it is not a guarantee to say it like that. I have seen parts of what the afterlife looks like, and I mean, as much as I want to say that they are ramblings of my mind, I have some. I do have some thoughts about them and what I have experienced throughout Revelations and whatnot. Let's just say that things are not as easy as they seem. It's quite a complicated mess. Everything around, like, life is both simple and complicated at the same time. It's crazy how it's kind of like a hypocrisy at just by existing. Like maybe hypocrisy. I don't think that's the proper word. In any case, that is something for them to like discover on their own, because if you force them into the belief set of any particular religion, in this case Christianity, you will not be able to convince or to sway someone who doesn't already believe in said things. It's much harder to do so, to be honest. You have to have a gift of being able to sway people your way, not as a grifter. I mean, as a genuine like preacher and speaker. You have to have that given charisma. It is to talk to the people and to sway them into believing what you believe in. This is like one of the hardest things to accomplish as like a human person, because if you're not charismatic by your own nature, it's not something that you can particularly force upon yourself. I don't particularly feel like I am a charismatic person. Some other people may disagree, but I do not feel like I am like that personally. Who knows? I'm not. I cannot. Like, it would be folly to give myself auto-descriptive things like I am intelligent, I am charismatic, and stuff like that. That's something other people have to speak for themselves. I cannot be attesting for that, bro. That's something for other people to determine, not for me. Okay?
And eternal life is something that Generation Z desperately needs right now. And finally, reviving the institutional church will make the culture better for both young men and young women.
I already told my thoughts upon that. It's do not force people who are not meant to be together to be together. It's very toxic, to be honest. I don't particularly like it. I am not a huge proponent of it. People should be able to like be with whomever they desire to be with, even if that relationship is kind of doomed to fail in the end. It is something that gives the man an opportunity to learn from, and that is one of the greatest gifts that life has to offer: opportunities to learn from experiences. Do not take them for granted. Not everyone is given them.
Because it's going to rebuild strong families and communities that are...
No, it's you're living out. Yeah, that will be the desired outcome. But what will happen is you will have collateral damages in cases of broken people and broken homes and people that do not fit together but are like forced by society. Like, oh, marriage is holy and breaking apart is disastrous. Like, I think giving King Henry VIII, even though I don't think he's Christian, as an example, is like the best indicator of that. I don't think he was able to divorce, so what he did was he just killed his own wife, and that disallowed him, like, I don't think disallowed, it gave him an exemption from like being like that. So, yeah.
Centered around a common purpose.
I don't think it's that great as an idea as you think it is. You think it is from an idealistical point of view, and that is commendable. But the reality is much harsher and much crueler hopes uh, than hopes that you have for it to be nice.
So, if you're looking to explore a Christian community, I made a map of historic Protestant churches all around the world.
And see what I mean? Like the tribalistic thought process. I don't think it's ill intentioned. He's just like abiding by his tribalistic nature. And listen, some people get by like that very easily, but I don't think it's like the solution he makes it out to be for like lonely people, because lonely people have to do some introspection, some trial and error, and like to better understand the circumstances around the world. Because like even if I were to get with a partner, I don't feel like I will stop feeling lonely. Like loneliness is not as easy to overpass with like such basic concepts. It's just how I feel like.
So you can find a Protestant church close to you. Now, these days, a lot of Protestant churches are either ugly or liberal, but I made sure that every church on my map is both traditional in terms of teaching and in terms of style.
And that's also very not. I don't particularly like that style of approach of stomping down on other people's belief. Yeah, I don't desecrate holy sacred places and call them I don't know. I don't particularly like that sort of thing. Like I don't particularly I'm not neither in favor nor against it, to be honest. If this is what people like to have to be included or like believe in and whatnot, I will let them have it. Like I am on the same page as like the current sitting Holy See Bergoglio on the views of accepting other people for what they are and for what they believe in and for what they are attracted to. Like I hold no grudges against them, for they are still human beings, and I will not degrade them. And I will not regard them as anything than like other human beings who have different interests than I do. I'm not particularly interested in propagating their beliefs, nor am I interested in dissuading their beliefs. I just accept them for what they are, and well, be as they may. And I will do what Jesus is preaching to do. Love your neighbor as you love thyself. That is a core teaching that I feel like should be more incorporated in our modern society. And I don't mean it in that like, oh, now you should be able to display sexuality and stuff all over the place. No, that's not what I meant. I meant to accept people for what they are and to treat them like with due respect as you would like to be treated on your own.
My map is both traditional. You're welcome to join the Redeemed Zoomers Discord, where you can meet Christians of all different denominations to learn about their distinctive practices and beliefs and traditions, but of course this is not meant to be a substitute for real church, because we encourage everyone in the server to go to church in real life as well. And if you're already a strong Christian and you want something to fight for, you can join Operation Reconquista. We are a group of mainline Protestants fighting to take back our traditional churches from secularists that have hijacked it. So there's going to be a link in the description of this.
Yeah, again, see, what I was talking about, the intrinsic nature of tribalism in the way people view things. Yeah, it's very much an obvious given in this current instance too. So this is what I've basically been upholding to talk about. This is all I had to say about this. I don't know what else to say. Like, I don't feel like this is a proper way to like substitute loneliness with like hollow goals and like things to do that you do not feel like you are quite understanding yourself, or even are able to like comprehend the meaning of what you are doing, and if what you are doing is for the right or bad thing, and you're finding yourself at the crossroads. That's why these things are very complicated, and it's not so easy to solve loneliness with just like, oh, just do this. It's very it's very hypocritical, actually, the fact that he mentioned, oh, just do this and that and you'll be what did he say it he's basically like downplaying this stereotype, while he himself is promoting another type of basically the same thing. It's kind of hypocritical from a certain point of view. It's kind of funny. I just realized this myself. But yeah, anyway, this is all I've been wanting to talk to you about. 1 hour and 45 minutes in. I'm sorry for keeping you this long up and awake. And well, I hope you liked my rants. So you don't get to see me often going on these long and tiresome rants. I hope you learned something from my tirade, and well, I'll catch you in the next with whatever I have lined up. Maybe it's gameplay from some game, I don't know, maybe some another talking video point. I'll see for myself. In any case, have a good one, guys, and I will see you all in the next whatever video I have that I want to make. Alright, have a good night, good morning, and peace, and have a nice day or evening wherever you are, good ladies and gents. Bye bye.